the CB1000 SP. When you look down at the tank in front of you, if it would have to make me smile, is it fast enough for you to have some fun? Okay, so this is the Honda Hornet, the CB1000 SP, and this is a brand new bike. It's got like, what's the mileage, 17 miles on the clock. Wow. I don't know if that's trip or whether that's total. I think it might actually be total, because it literally was brand new and registered, I think, yesterday or the day before. And the guy here, Nathan at Abingdon Honda, rode it home and rode it in this morning. Took a little bit of shine off the tyres, which is good. So yeah, really excited to jump on this bike. Let's just make sure it's in standard mode. Rain, user 1 and user 2, so hopefully you can see that. So it's got the riding modes, basically rain, standard, sport, and then it's got user 1 and user 2, which is both of those are customizable. It's got up and down quick shifter. Let's just test that at low speed. Yeah, that's nice and easy. There's no clunkiness to it. The dash is really nice and clear, actually, really easy to read, and the seating position is comfortable. I've got an hour on this bike. I've got to do a little bit of town mileage, and then I used the clutch and I didn't need to, and then I'll do some sort of country back roads, and I'm going to do a little bit of dual carriageway as well. So first impressions, yeah, it is comfortable. The pegs are a little bit further back than I thought than you would expect. I'm sat upright, but my knees are sort of at quite an angle, so that's something to be aware of. The bars are nice and wide. They are much wider than the Svartpillen 801 that I test rode. And whilst the Svartpillen is a completely different bike, and it's not really comparable because it's a smaller engine anyway, so you know, it's not a fair comparison, but in terms of the way the bike feels, it's really all I've got to go by. You know, I can sort of I've got the Svartpillen and I've got the Buell to compare it to for naked bikes that I've ridden recently. And yeah, so far this is probably, I'd say, the most comfortable. It's got a standard exhaust, which is big and fucking ugly and quite quiet, as you would expect. I mean, you know, it's a brand new bike. And but yeah, so anyway, straight away, even just doing, you know, 20-25 miles an hour around town, it's really smooth, really smooth. Really comfortable. My shoulders are they're not sort of cramped up. The bars I've mentioned already are quite wide. The seating position is quite neutral. It's just, yeah, like I say, the pegs are a bit further back than I expected. It feels really light, actually. So the spec sheets, let's talk about some specs. The weight of this bike is about 212 kilograms, so it's actually quite on the heavy side, really. And that'll partly be due to the exhaust system, and that'll be partly due to all the electronics and all the gubbins that are fitted to it. But I think you could probably quite easily save a little bit of weight just by changing the exhaust. You could do things like changing the wheels, etc., but it feels light enough. It feels really nimble, actually. It turns quite quickly. The front end feels quite light. I've got to be careful on the brakes as well, because obviously the brakes are brand new. But yeah, it turns quite light. It's really easy to throw around, very easy, and that will be also down to the fact that the bars are quite wide, so you've got a lot of leverage on the bars. yeah, that quick shifter is very, very smooth and just seamless. It really is seamless. So I'm still in standard mode at the moment, but I will put it into sport in a second. Anyway, yeah, back to the spec sheet. So 212 kilograms, there or thereabouts, and the power is 155 brake horsepower. So compared to, say, a Z1000, it's got a bit more power than a Z1000. Not quite as much power as oh god, what's the other bike I looked at? Oh bloody hell, I can't remember now. Oh yeah, the MT10. So not quite as much power and torque as the MT10. And I suppose this is a competitor for the MT10. And my overall question really for this test ride is, would this be a good second bike? In the sense that, is it something that you could do a fair few miles on? And could you sort of live with it every day? Oh, brakes are good. Could you live with it every day? Could you do quite a few miles on it? You know, is it gonna also then give you the smiles that you might want from a second bike? I mean, like, people buy second bikes for different reasons, right? I mean, some people might buy a second bike just purely to use as a tool, get to work and back, do a bit of commuting on. But if I was going to buy a second bike, yes, it would have to be usable and quite user-friendly in the bad weather, for example, but it would also have to give me the thrills, you know. Even during the winter, it would have to make me smile. And I've already mentioned on a previous video, and I don't know if it'll be uploaded by the time I do this, but I've mentioned about the Buell as well. The Buell is a great second bike because it just makes you smile all the time. Right, let's put this into sport. Oh, straight away the throttle response is a lot better. It's a lot sharper. And there's probably loads of bloody wind noise because obviously I'm on a naked bike, I've got no wind protection. So I'm going to have to play around with the audio when I edit this video and try and block out some of the background noise. That quick shift is really good. It's almost like you can barely feel the gear changes. It doesn't jerk. It doesn't, you know, doesn't throw you forward. Let's drop it down a sec. Okay, so that's second gear, down to first. Let's see what it pulls away like in sport mode. So yeah, I mean, look, it's got enough power that you can get, you know, overtake some cars and you can have a blast. But there's something missing from this. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to it, but there seems to be something missing, really. Let's try that again. Down to 20 mile an hour. So yeah, there seems to be something missing. I don't know, or something a little bit underwhelming when you get on the power. I mean, that could be the fact that I've just come off my Fireblade. I don't know. Something tells me at the moment that the Buell is much more fun and has got much more character. But that's not that this is a bad bike. It's not, you know, it's not a bad bike. Brakes are good. So it's got Brembo brakes, and I'll come on to the price in a second. But Brembo brakes, Öhlins suspension, which, you know, I haven't had this suspension set up for me at all. It is what it is. This is like straight out of the shop, so I can't really comment too much on the suspension, because the suspension is so changeable. You know, you can play around with the suspension a lot, but all I can say really so far is as soon as you hit the front brake, it doesn't dive very much. So maybe those Öhlins forks are doing their job. You know, it doesn't squat too much under acceleration either. So at the moment, however this suspension is set up, and it's all manually adjustable, it's not electronic, but however this suspension is set up, it feels fine. You know, and that's the only word that comes to mind. It feels fine. It's probably a bit stiffer than the standard SP. So the standard SP, which I think is about 9 grand, whereas this is 10 grand. The standard SP is going to be a little bit softer, and the guy Nathan I was chatting to in the Honda dealer, he confirmed that the standard is softer. So this, as you would imagine, is a bit stiffer. It's a bit more focused, he was saying. Now, I haven't ridden the standard, so I'm just going by what Nathan says. It feels like a big bike as well. I mean, when you look down at the tank in front of you, it feels like a much bigger bike than it actually is, you know? So yeah, anyway, I'll keep getting off subject. Let's go back to the spec sheet. So as I said, 212 kilograms, 155 brake horsepower. It's got, I think, about 109 newton meters of torque. Öhlins suspension front and rear, Brembo brakes, and it has got a quick shifter. It's got your 3 riding modes plus 2 adjustable riding mode, customizable riding modes. I've already mentioned that the dash is nice and clear and really easy to read. I'm not going to bother trying to change the layout of the dash, you know. I'm not going to mess around with that. But yeah, standard and sport mode, you can tell the difference, as you would expect when you put it into sport mode. The throttle response is a bit sharper, and it becomes a little bit livelier. It's not going to do anything to the suspension, so when you change the riding modes, it's not going to change the suspension because it's not electronic suspension. And of course I'm on a road that's just been freshly fucking tarmacked. But I'm going to do a bit of dual carriageway and a few more back roads as well before I head back. So one thing I do notice is, because I ride with the balls of the feet on the foot pegs, I can feel the exhaust on my heel. Now there'll be a heat shield to stop you burning your boots or melting your boots, but that is a little bit annoying. I can imagine if you're throwing this around some country roads and you're moving your feet around as you would do, then it would be annoying to keep kicking the exhaust with your heel. It would definitely need to have an exhaust fitted. Maybe a full system, maybe even just an end can, but yeah, I mean the noise is so underwhelming. So far, do I think this is a contender for a second bike? Do you know, I just don't know. Is it going to give you the smiles? I don't know. And look, I ride a Fireblade every day. Well, not every day, but you know what I mean. I ride a Fireblade. So jumping onto a naked bike, I need to manage my expectations. I think I need to maybe take this for what it is. Has it got enough power for you to have some fun? Yes. Is it fast enough for you to have some fun? Yes. Is it flickable and nimble enough for you to throw it around and have some fun? Yes. Is it exciting? I don't know. Is it going to piss down any minute? Probably. Loads of mud on the road, look. So yeah, I don't know, it's not as exciting as I expected it to be, I must admit. And it's like I say, I don't know whether that's because I ride a Fireblade all the time, and also I've ridden the Buell, which is nowhere near the performance of this bike. This bike way outperforms the Buell, but the Buell has just got more character. I mean, you can sort of hear the potential of the engine noise, but you just have to get that exhaust swapped. It is quite stable in the wind though, I must admit. It's not unstable. I'm not being battered around too much, and the front end feels quite planted. I don't know if this has got a steering damper. I imagine being a Honda it's probably got an electronic steering damper, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd like to think it would have, being a naked bike, and you know, that front end being quite lively potentially. Yeah, so look, marks out of 10 so far, probably about a 7. And if I'm giving this a 7 out of 10, what's missing? Well, I think really just a little bit of character. It's good. It seems to do everything really well. It seems to be really stable. It seems to have the performance that it claims to have. But it's like I said earlier, there seems to be something missing. You could definitely though, you could ride this bike all day. I thought I'd stop for a second really and just talk about this, because there's loads of wind noise and yeah, it's probably quite difficult to hear. But so far, and to be honest, I've only been on it for like 20 minutes or so, and it is a nice bike. It is it's okay to look at as far as naked bikes go. I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of naked bikes, well, modern naked bikes at least, but it does look okay. It does look good. It's got nice, quite sharp lines. The front end isn't too bad. I like the headlights on it. I don't like this exposed dashboard. It could do with like a bikini screen, which would also give you a little tiny bit of wind protection as well. But I'm sure you could get an aftermarket screen for that. It's comfortable. It's nimble. The quick shifter works really well, really well. I'm happy and actually quite impressed with the quick shifter. It's not clunky at all, whether you're at high speed or low speed. It just works, you know, proper sort of Honda engineering there. It's comfortable enough, I imagine so far, that you could ride this all day, albeit the pegs seem a little bit further back than what I thought they might do. The bars are nice and wide, giving you that leverage and a nice comfortable sort of position with your upper body. It's very stable at high speed, surprisingly, even though it's got no wind protection at all. It's very stable at high speed. The brakes work really well, albeit though these brakes are pretty much brand new, so they're probably not actually bedded in properly yet, but they're quite responsive. They are not, you know, they're not unpredictable. And the tyres are OEM tyres, so OEM tyres are not the same quality and performance as tyres that you buy yourself and put on your bike. So I can't really comment on the tyres, to be fair. They are just what came with the bike, brand new. So yeah, and in terms of what I've said a couple of times about something missing, I think what's missing really is just that excitement factor. I just haven't had that yet, even though it's in sport mode. Let's just double check that it is actually. So rain, user 1, user 2, standard, sport. Yeah, sport mode. So standard mode and sport mode, like I said, you do notice a difference in the throttle response. I haven't really noticed all of that much other difference apart from that, but yeah, it's just there's a little bit of character missing, I think, which is a shame. It's such a shame because all the reviews that I've seen online really praise the hell out of this bike, but I think, to be honest, those views that really do give this very high marks, I think partly, and a big part of it, is down to the fact that it is so much money for the bike. Sorry, so much bike for the money, you know. 1000cc, Brembo brakes, all-in suspension, all the stuff that I've mentioned, for 10 grand is, or is it even just like a couple of quid under 10 grand? That is fantastic. That is a hell of a lot of bike. By today's standards, that is a hell of a lot of bike for that amount of money. But as a second bike, would I buy it? So far, I don't think so. I'm not smiling as much as I thought I would be. Now, that's just me, right? And that's subjective. Now, if someone else, however, is used to naked bikes, and let's say you're coming off a, I don't know, an MT7 or something like that, and you jump on something like this, then it will be a step up. It really will be, because it doesn't, I don't think, other than the character and the smile factor, I don't think this wants for anything. It would definitely be a really good upgrade from something like an MT7 or, you know, a Bandit 600 or something like that. But yeah, for me, this just, I think it's too much of a compromise on the fun factor. I just expected a little bit more. Now, I know I'm probably sounding quite negative about this bike, so let's be fair for a second. It is a fucking awesome bike. It is. It's, you know, like I said, it's powerful enough that you wouldn't really need much more power than this. You might want more power, but you wouldn't really need much more power. And yeah, I keep going back to that price. You know, the package that this bike is for 10 grand is phenomenal, I think. It is not a bad bike at all, you know, it really isn't. I do like the colour actually of this. I don't normally go for black bikes, but this matte black with the gold wheels and, you know, the gold all-in suspension and stuff, I think that's really good. I'm really struggling as to what else I can say about this bike, because I think it sums it up well. The fact that it's a lot of bike for the money, really good value, performs well, it does everything good, but it's just missing the X factor. So this is going to sound crazy, right? Now, I've probably got 20 minutes left of my hour on this bike, and it's like I just want to head back to the shop and hand it back. I am really, in the bigger scheme of things, right, I'm disappointed. I don't know, yeah, I am. I'm gutted. Look, I'm probably being really unfair, and I'm probably being really biased towards the fact that I ride a later sports bike all the time, and I get that, and I do get it, but I'm just being honest with you, really. I'm just being, yeah, completely honest. I am disappointed. But look, that's not to say that other people wouldn't enjoy it, of course, because like I said, it's a good bike. It's not a fantastic bike. I mean, it is what it is, right? But I can only be honest. I am so glad now to be back on the blade again. My final verdict, folks, is for what it is, it's a good bike. For the price tag, it's a great bike. But for putting a smile on your face, it's just not there.